Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Victor and welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a cinematography breakdown of a music video that I shot not too long ago. It's called Dear Officer and the singer is called Mimi. For copyright purposes, I will not be including the actual song in this video. If you want, you can check it out following the link down below in the description. There you can also see the full music video, which I definitely recommend doing before we jump into the cinematography breakdown, because here I will only go over 3 shots. I will go over them in quite detail, so if I were to go over the entire music video, it would take hours. I really recommend you watch it like this. You have the context of what we're doing here, and so you can also have an idea of the shots that come before and after what I'm featuring in this video. So for this, I'll have also a screen recording of my computer and of my iPad right here, where I will do the drawings and show you how we did the setups, how we set up the lights, the camera, movements, all of this stuff. I'm going to start out by talking about what we shot on. So we shot on my FX6 and we also used the Cooke SP3 lenses. On top of this, we also used the Tilt Mirage matte box together with a quarter black mist filter. And aside from this, we also had a slider that I'm going to get into once we get to that shot, and obviously lights, we had many different lights. All right, so jumping straight in, let's watch the first clip. So here you have the singer singing to the police officer, and now the camera is sliding from right to left, breaking what we had as the 180-degree line between the two actors. So here you'll understand, if you watch the music video, that before this particular shot, all of the shots were from what is now our perspective, the right side. So our 180-degree line was between the two actors. And now here we are breaking it because basically, if we take a look at our drawing, so you see this right here is the singer. This is the police officer, and the door to actually exit this interrogation room was on this side right here. And coming up, we had a few more shots from these angles on the left side of the two. And after that, we had a match cut of the officer walking out the door and walking in the next shot as a doctor into a hospital room. So therefore, for the subsequent shots, we had to be on this side. So this here is quite a nice way to break the axis, which in general you shouldn't do, but sometimes you want to do it for creative reasons, sometimes you want to do it because that's just how it works out with the space that you're shooting in. And this one worked out quite well in this scenario. What we have here is a very simple lighting setup. So if I start out at the beginning of the shot, you see on the right side there is this lamp. It's a practical. We wanted to use Aputure B7C light bulbs in it, but because it turns out that this lamp actually had the part where you screw in the bulb smaller than the B7Cs, that didn't work out. So we actually had to use the light bulb that came with it. Luckily for us, it was 3200 Kelvin, so that's exactly the temperature we wanted for this. And it was small enough that we don't see it, and it didn't flicker. So it didn't cause any problems for us. It actually worked fine, even though that's not what we had initially planned. So that is the lamp that you see here on the table. I already included it because it's a practical. Then we have what you see as the cold light on the singer's left side. That is basically an Aputure Nova P300C that is put in the corner. It's also raised quite a bit, and that just shines on the entire room. It's supposed to replicate what would be like a basement window, how in basements the windows are quite high up, and so that would be light coming in from outside. And the only other light we have in this room is actually an Aputure LSC60D. So we have that one right here. Because this one was daylight and we were actually going for 3200, we also had some orange gels on it to get it to 3200. So this one was on a pretty narrow beam. I believe that was 15 degrees. And with the barn doors that come with the projection mount, we got to have this very, very small circle. The idea here was basically, as you watch the shot, I'm just gonna play it while I talk. As you watch the shot, notice the singer going in and out of the light. That is what the director wanted in this case. So we had to make that happen with this very narrow angle beam. Okay, now in terms of the camera, so the camera was actually, it started off basically here, right? So this is our camera, and then we had a slider, not a dolly, a slider going to the left, and the movement was of course from right to left, while also panning from left to right. Like this, we kept the singer in the shot the entire time. Here, the very nice thing about the slider that we used, which was the SlideCam Atlas, was the fact that you could also position it upside down. Because basically what happened, you can't put this slider on any tripod. They need to be 2 small light stands. And because even the small light stands were still quite tall, together with the slider as well, and then on top of the slider, obviously you have the fluid head and the camera, it actually got pretty tall where it was above the police officer's head. So the nice thing was that we could turn it around, and then we secured the camera to the slider, and we were sliding with the camera upside down to get this height. So yeah, that is basically it for this shot. We obviously also had some haze on top of the quarter black mist, just to add a little bit more atmosphere to it. The next shot is a very short shot in the edit, but one that I honestly really like because it really shows the character of these lenses. So this is where I told you, after this axis break, the police officer eventually stands up, leaves through the door, and we have a match cut to the same actress, but now dressed as a doctor, going to the hospital room. Here the singer is in the hospital bed, and the actress is looking at her, inspecting her. It's a very short shot, and in the music video it's only like 4 seconds, but I believe it really shows the nice character of these lenses. Here again we had quite a nice setup. So this is basically the layout of the room. I didn't include any of the other props, like what you see, the saline bags or any of the other stuff, because it's not really relevant to us. So here what we had going on in terms of lighting, we had 2 Astera Titan tubes attached to the ceiling. They were bright enough that they were giving this ambient light in the entire room, and what we were going for was exactly this kind of very even hospital-like lighting. It looks a bit sickly, a bit greenish. That is also because of the color of the walls. So what you see as the hair light right here, and also the windows and the shadow of the windows on the wall, this was actually achieved with a 2K. So that's an ARRI 2K that was blasting full power through the door. So that's how she got the hair light, and also through the windows. Once again, a very simple lighting setup. Then the camera was just on the bed and tilted up as if it was a POV. For this one we used the 25mm Cooke SP3, and yeah, there's nothing too complex to this one. It's just very simple, basic techniques, just getting a little bit of lens flare in there, backlighting. So it's really, really easy to achieve these kinds of shots when you know what you're doing, even if you have quite limited equipment. Okay, so moving on to the next shot, this one is a bit more complex in terms of the lighting. That's because there's really a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of lights. As you can already tell from the image here, there's a light here, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background with different colors, on her face also. So I'm just gonna break that down for you. But first, in terms of camera, it's actually quite simple. So I'm just gonna explain while we watch it. So as you can see, it's again handheld. We're just following the performance. There's some really nice flares coming in. That's those beautiful Cooke SP3s. Here again, we're using the 25mm Cooke SP3 with a quarter black mist to add even more halation around the lights. So if we're taking now a look at the drawing, the camera is basically here, moving a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right, following the movements of the singer. But then what we have going on in terms of lighting is quite interesting. So you notice there's a lot of haze, but we're outdoors. This was quite difficult. If we watch it again, you'll see why. So you see it's actually quite windy. The haze is going from right to left really, really fast. So here what we did is we put the hazer on the right side and just let the wind swoop in and carry the haze, which actually ended up looking really, really cool. Now to light up this haze, we used this Titan tube right here that you can see. And there is also another one off on the right side. These Titan tubes are constant, right? If we're looking at the footage, you notice they're not flashing at all. But here you see another one in the background. So we actually have two more Titan tubes, one here and one here, that are also flashing to add more of the police ambient. This being a music video, it doesn't all need to look very, very realistic, right? This is supposed to be outside of the police station, but it doesn't need to look 100% the way it would in real life. So we just added all of these lights because this is the performance, this is the crazy look. But then if we go back to the first frame, you can notice here in the back it's very blue, and this is the main thing that gives color to the background. We actually put the Nova P300C on the ground and pointing up. This gives all of that fill to the haze. Now the really cool thing about shining lights into the haze is that it blows everything up. The light bounces around between the particles of the haze and creates this even color in the haze. So we end up with this really cool effect. Now, yes, there's also lights on her. So here, I was basically where the camera is, but there were two more lights. These were Nanlite Pavotubes, also casting a light from the front. Like this, we can also see her is not fully backlit. And then the lights on her are also flashing. And there's a bunch of Aputure MCs, either on top of the car or inside of the car. And then there's also a couple more in the background. Over there somewhere, there's some other cars where we also attach the lights to, just to give it a bit more of that ambient. You can kind of see them here as I scroll through slowly. So yeah, this is how we achieved these looks. The headlights were, of course, very important, not just to give this kind of silhouette effect and also bring some white light into the haze, but also because they're the ones achieving these beautiful flares that I wanted in these shots as well. So that is basically it. That is our breakdown of how we achieved these three shots from the music video Dear Officer. If you are interested in watching the music video, again, the link is down in the description below. I really recommend you watch it. And if you're interested in more breakdowns like this, you can let me know in the comment section below. If you also want to see any other shots from the music videos or any other of my work, just let me know and I might do a video on it. Okay, so this was our cinematography breakdown of the music video Dear Officer by Mimi. If you're interested in any more cinematography breakdowns like this, where I go into detail on how we achieved these looks, please let me know in the description down below. You can also recommend any shots you would like to see from the music video or any other piece of my work that you can find online, and I will gladly do a video like this. But for now, thank you for watching and see you in the next video.